Today is December 6th, 2022. This is the Hannah City Village Council meeting. At this time, if you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Sam, you just see coming back on.
Oh.
Find your money.
See when we even do recognition.
Oh, yeah.
I want to recognize him right now.
Okay.
So he'll be later.
Oh, he's in.
I know, but he'll be.
What's his name?
Stan Urban is his name. Sam, we got you down later in the agenda.
Take your time. I got nothing else to do.
All right.
Everybody should have a copy of the previous minute from our November 15th meeting. Corrections or changes? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Who was the first second?
Brad.
Okay. I have a motion by Sidak. Second by Weaver. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. On to our Treasurer's report, Ms. Cassandra.
Nothing out of the ordinary. There are 3 weeks of payroll in there because it's been 3 weeks since the last meeting, but something different.
Do we have I3 broadband here?
Oh,
Just for phone.
I think the contract's up in 5 months, maybe something like that. We'll look at
Going to mid-century
bringing in fiber from mid-century and then moving to their phones.
because these.
Does the street have it?
Yeah, this section has it.
But we'll have to vote on all that once the time comes. But
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and pay all outstanding.
A motion by Charavalli,
Second.
second by Weaver. Any further discussion? Roll call. Weaver,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Charavalli,
Yes.
Sidak.
yes,
Motion carries. Brandon not going to be joining us?
he's not. The only thing I will say is we've got a meeting scheduled for the 9th of January, no, the 11th of January to have our first discussion on next year's MFT program and outline. Look at the master plan we've got, determine if the wet streets we're going to do and kind of narrow all that down. And eventually we'll have to bring that here for a vote. We're just starting to work on that.
Okay. That brings us down to the attorney's report. Mr. Connor?
You said treasurer, but you may have meant attorney.
Did I say treasurer?
You did.
Yes.
Oh, attorney.
Okay. I'll try to talk about the money though, if you guys want, but for the most part, it's something I try to stay out of. The really my main focus has been working with staff on the tax levy ordinance in the past, and really hasn't been much going on otherwise since the last meeting.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bill. Now we'll go to the administrative report.
Everything I got will cover under the committee reports, so I don't have anything specific.
Okay. Committee reports. Finance, Mr. Chervali.
That should lead us off there, Brian.
So this is the Stan Urbans, the gentleman that's on the camera. Stan is, you might remember him, he used to work for Pro Champs. So he brought us the Pro Champs company that we use for our abandoned and
Dilapidated.
Vacant registration, foreclosed and abandoned properties. Stan now works for another organization called Azavar. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Stan.
Yes, you are.
And they do work with lots of different local governments, and one of the things they do is audit your finances, and then if they find places where you have not received the income that you need and other, or that is your right, then they help you find that, get it, and then they take a cut of that as their pay. Hope I said that correctly, Stan.
Yes, you did, Brian.
So if you want to expand on it, Stan, you can speak to it, and then we can talk specifically about the agreement.
In a general, just to give you an idea, in your neighborhood around Hannah, Galesburg, East Peoria, West Peoria, Peoria, and Springfield, and Decatur are all using this program. I'm a retired city manager. I used it in 3 communities that I work for. And what we do is, it's when anybody hears the word audit, your finance person or your treasurer, they get worried because audits are not pretty. But we don't inhibit or use your finance or your treasury department in any way, shape, or form. What we do is we examine things like your utility tax, your communication tax. Communication tax, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about Comcast. We're talking about your TV stations that you get a tax on. As an example, and this is a bad comparison, and I'll give you a good one. We did Springfield last year. Springfield got from Comcast alone over $1 million in revenue that was low-hanging fruit that they were entitled to, that Comcast just, not picking on them, but they forgot to pay Springfield. In turn, somebody more, or actually I think a little smaller than you, is East Peoria. They, through the audit, found over $10,000 that was due to that community, and we helped them collect it. As Brian said, there is no fee attributed to the municipality in any way, shape, or form. Out of what we find and what is collected, we require that a payment be due to us. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have the contract, unfortunately, in front of me, but I believe it's 45% of whatever we find and collect.
I think that's correct.
You don't have to ask me, how much am I going to find? We don't know at this point. We may find a couple $100. We may find several $1,000. We don't know until we get into the audit. What's most important to administration like Brian is we're not going to take up any of the staff time at all. I shouldn't say at all, maybe a couple of hours to determine, do you use Comcast, do you use Xfinity, who do you use, where do you get your electric from, where do you get your water from? Those types of things we're going to look at. But we look at what is due you, not what is expected of you, but what is due to you and hasn't been paid. And if it's okay with Brian and the mayor, I will open the floor up to questions.
I think the second example you gave was West Peoria, not East Peoria. And I did talk with
West Peoria. I'm sorry, I said.
No, you're fine. I spoke with Kinga, and she recommended the program as well. The only other thing I would say is this professional services agreement has been reviewed by Bill. He made a couple of changes, and as of our we agreed with those changes, and Bill's reviewed it since then. So anyway, ask away.
Well, I don't think I'm wrong when I read it. There's no way for us to lose any money on this deal.
Right.
So it's a very detailed process for somebody to find this money. So
And I'll add to that, trustee, is don't expect to get a check next week. It takes a good 6 months to 9 months for us to find it, collect it, and get it to you folks. So it does take some time. To give you a better example, we're working with the city of Chicago, believe it or not. Comcast owes them over $5.5 million, and now they're in negotiations. And Bill will appreciate this. Our attorneys and their attorneys have been working on the negotiation for 8 years because they just know how to keep stalling, and they know they owe the money. They just know how to stall. I don't think we will find that. At least we haven't found it in the past with communities like East Peoria. When we come to them, no offense, you are a much smaller community than Chicago. They're, if we find a few $1,000s, they're happy to pay it, and we go away.
Is there anything then to, if we find out that there's money that's owed to us for arrears, is there anything that's done to make sure that they keep paying it forward after that point, if it's due to this village?
Between William Connor, your attorney, and our attorneys, we stay on their back, and more is on us than on Bill. We stay on them every year for at least 5 years going forward. I don't mean to we'll pick on Comcast. I don't mean to make them the bad guy. Sometimes it's things as small as, let's say there's a house on the peripheral of Hannah, and the fees that they've been collecting have been going to your neighbor or an unincorporated area because they just didn't have the right GIS location. That's what we do. We find them and we say, you know what, this particular house business is in the city limits of Hannah. Therefore, you owe it to us, not to your neighbor. And they go back and they try and settle with their neighbor to get back their money, which, as a past manager, I'm not too easily persuaded to give back money that I got, but sometimes you have to.
When did we do our new ordinance
It was when I started.
So it was when you started?
Yeah, it was when Mid-Century, I think, started to come in.
Okay.
You're talking about a franchise agreement?
Not
No,
franchise agreement.
The telecommunications.
Oh, yeah, it's about the same time. Okay.
So can they get us anything back, like for previous years, since we were never getting anything?
I think that's what the
whole process is for.
is to help determine what we.
Is that correct, Stan?
Yes, by law, and please correct me, Mr. Connor, if I'm wrong, we can go back 5 years and collect whatever is due to you for the past 5 years.
Because I don't think Mediacom has ever paid us anything. Is that my understanding?
I don't know.
I think we're getting a franchise fee now.
Now, but
Yeah.
we never had it created prior to.
It just
Okay.
depends on when the franchise fee was established and things like that, if one was ever done. So
Well, that's good.
And I'll add to the list that I gave you of surrounding communities, East Peoria Sanitary District, who only manages levees along the river. Well, they're owed several millions of dollars because their lines, their fiber optic lines, go through those levees. And we just signed them up about 3 months ago, and their initial response was, well, get a bill. We don't know that we owe any money. You've got a contract that says you put your lines through our levees, you owe us money. We're talking in excess of $10 million that is owed to the sanitary district. What I'm leading to is sometimes they think they can get away with more with smaller communities. No offense. That they don't always have to pay a fair share or pay anything at all. So it's the smaller communities sometimes benefit percentage-wise much greater than the bigger communities.
So I guess if you guys are in support of that, we would need to.
Didn't you say he was also going to help with something else? Helping us with grant resources and.
Yeah, he gave us some names, and we're working that separately. And I've talked to that guy, and he's doing a little research for us. I don't know that it's going to turn anything up, to be honest with you, because I kind of got from him the same thing we've gotten from other people. But it's always good to have new people looking for.
I'll make a motion to approve the as of our audit agreement.
Second.
I have a motion by Chair Volley, second by Sidak. Any further discussion? Roll call it. Miller? Chair Volley?
Yes.
Sidak?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Stan, do you need better to have the mayor's signature than mine, or does it matter?
Whoever, it doesn't matter to us at all, as long as somebody that has the legal authority to sign it. Brian, I think it would behoove you to have the mayor sign it to make him feel good tonight.
Yeah. I just handed him the document, so we're good.
And I want to thank you all, and we will do the best we can. And Brian, as soon as that's signed, email it to me, and then we will get it signed on our end. And one of the as of our team members will be in contact with you and get this up and going.
And which one do we sign? Since there's the engagement letter, then there's also the statement of work.
I believe there's at least 2, maybe 3 places you need to sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, then the other one's the professional service agreement.
Right.
Okay.
All right. And I have one question of all the board members. I was in your town, and unfortunately, I got there a little late to meet Brian. Where is the best place to get fried chicken in that town? I saw more places than I just got back from Nashville, and I never saw so many chicken signs.
Yeah, we really don't have a place in town that serves fried chicken.
Yeah, right.
That's called Gills.
Gills, okay. I will be down there soon. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
You bet. Are you going to say you're welcome to stay, but if you want to sign off, that's fine?
I'm going to sign off because it's cocktail hour.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you again for your support, Brian. Good night, Bill.
Anything else under the finance committee report?
The only thing I would add is that we had met and kind of I put together a presentation on a long-range capital plan that I think I sent to Rod, and I sent to Caleb, and I sent to Ryan and the mayor to kind of look at. We'll probably put it on the agenda for next week to talk about, but basically starting to look at how much do we have set aside, how much are we setting aside regularly, what do we think our needs are, and how do we move forward towards something that we've got all the capital we need to do the things that we need, and we're putting the money that we have in the right places.
Yeah, it's really just going to take us as a board to decide what direction we want to go and put our priorities first. Come to some kind of agreement so we can start moving the puzzle pieces.
Okay. Planning and zoning, we don't have anything right now, right?
Right.
Sanitary sewer, we don't have anything right now.
Correct.
Water, does anybody have it?
The other thing I would talk about is we had a leak on McAllister. I out here, and actually wound up being 2 leaks. They found the first one, and then they ended up putting a valve in there to kind of cut it in half. And when they put the valve in there, they found a leak in the front half of it as well. Those are all fixed, and thank Roger and Brad and Jim all worked late Friday night and worked late again, I think, last night to get them corrected and get them fixed. We were just running a little bit of math, including the leak that we had over by Rod's house plus this one, and we think we may have found up to almost 12% of the loss between all 3 of those leaks. Maybe if the numbers are right, we're going to watch it over the next. That's about $4,000 or $5,000 a year if that's right. So still a long way to go, but taking some swings at it. So
Knocks a dent out of that water loss, that's for sure. Okay, buildings and grounds,
I've got nothing
streets and alleys.
Nothing there as well.
I've got a question about streets and alleys. Have we made any progress in the or any further inquiries into those complaints raised about the sidewalks?
the ones over in the subdivision, yeah, we met with Roger, went over and talked to them and met with them. One of them, I think I think we kind of came to some agreement that there wasn't anything that probably needed to be done right away. There was another one that could be addressed. Part of it is that the homeowner still has trees there that could tear it up again, and so the discussion was about what was the homeowner going to do with the trees, and they were still trying to figure out whether or not they wanted to do anything with it or not. But it's still on Roger's radar, and as we just start to look at sidewalks, he'll continue to revisit with them. But we didn't just drop the ball. We had a conversation with them and kind of came to an agreement of waiting for now.
Okay. CEDC?
Nothing to report.
The only thing I'll add is I sent you guys just recently an email on beginning to communicate the launch of both the commercial and the residential program. And I sent it out to Zach and a few others, just maybe it was even today or yesterday, I can't remember. And beginning to communicate that to the community starting now and or next week and running in through making the applications available probably in the February timeframe, somewhere in that area. So I put it on the agenda for next week to bring that communication in and let you guys see it and look at it. But basically what happened is we just launched a communication to the community that we're doing it. And then the attorneys and the people we work with at Jacob and Klein, for the people whose businesses or homes that are eligible, will receive a postcard letting them know that their property is eligible. And then the applications would come out in February, and we'd start looking at them, I think, probably in the April timeframe, somewhere in there. The CEDC would start looking at them then, make recommendations to you guys, and then you guys would vote on which ones we want to do and not do and fund them in next year's fiscal budget. So it's pretty cool. We're getting those moving forward.
Mr. Miller, incident reports?
Just standard basic calls. Not that many. I think on the last report there's only 2. So nothing alarming on police calls.
Okay. Reminder, next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Gills for board and staff holiday party. Normally we've always just they've done one during the day for the staff, and then some of the stuff is left here over for the board and everything. So that will be at 6 p.m. at Gills. Bring your significant other. Normal drinks will be on the village, included with the meal. Any alcohol would be on your own, just so that is noted ahead of time. Any comments on that?
When is it?
Next Tuesday at 6 p.m. It'll be at Gills. Just tell them you're there for the village holiday party. And we'll be sitting in the back. It'll be a family style dinner, fried chicken, Salisbury steak, green beans, mashed potatoes, salad, Corn for
Yeah, corn fritters. That's what Rod likes.
I will not be there.
Well, now I'm not coming.
I'm not going. Oh, I gotta be there.
Daughter's got basketball game.
You say you got the choice between fried chicken and Salisbury steak?
Yeah, they bring it out home style, so they'll bring out platters of
both.
fried chicken and Salisbury. You can have both. In fact, I know the Mayor's Association when we host it one time a year at Gills when we have our Mayor's Association meeting there. There's always normally leftovers. So
Well, my significant other doesn't like fried chicken for some weird reason, so. Salisbury
You
steak.
like her
I hope she likes Salisbury steak. I like it because there's plenty of leftover fried chicken.
fair.
next item up is staff holiday bonuses.
Well,
Go to me.
Yeah.
Last year we did 150,
for full time and 75 for part time.
correct. And we've got 3 full-time, right? Jim, Roger, Cassandra,
Tracy.
Tracy. Oh gosh, sorry.
Yeah,
How could
Tracy.
you forget Tracy?
Who can forget Tracy?
So that's 600. If you kept it the same, that'd be 600 for full-time, and then me and Brad for part-time.
It's 150, so
That'd be
750.
you did 150 for full and 75 for part-time.
Correct.
That's what we did last year. Actually, I think that's probably what we did the last 2 years.
No, we actually raised it last year.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we raised it last year. Coming out of the pandemic and having a surplus, we raised it.
What is that? I wasn't paying attention. A gift card for Christmas or something? Or a
Cash.
bonus?
Cash bonus.
Cash.
Or it's a bonus check.
Alright. Got to pay taxes on it?
Yeah.
So
It's payment from the village, so they have to pay that.
That's the last one. The way they did it last year was they added money.
Yeah, what we do is we do it so that what their bonus is, they're taking home 150. Most bonuses are done that way. You're taking home, if it's a 150 bonus, it may be whatever, one something plus the taxes, they take home 150. I know that's how.
Making more on that.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, okay
Yes,
if I
sir.
drop off? I'm doing double duty tonight because of Clay's illness. But
You're more than fine, Bill. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Have a good evening, Bill.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
So I will entertain a motion to pay full-time employees a $150 holiday bonus and part-time employees a $75 bonus.
So moved.
Just for the record, full-time is 37 and a half.
Yes.
You're not going to cut it, Brian?
I'm sorry?
You're going to make that 37 and a half?
No, I'm part-time, baby.
Part-time working double time.
Right. Second.
A motion by Sidak, second by Chiravalli. Any further discussion? Roll call it. Chiravalli,
Yes.
Sidak,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Miller.
yes.
Motion carries. Caucus update.
Well, we're gonna find out if everybody needs to either electronically fill out their economic interest statements, or if we can just run them down to the courthouse, and I will let you guys know tomorrow. And
For the record, then, nobody's appointed at this point now. Everybody's elected
no,
After the election.
after the
the
election.
election is April.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but after the election.
Everybody's been nominated.
Yeah,
Right.
everybody's nominated.
Everybody's been nominated.
Yeah.
And anybody that is having a 2-year unexpired term, in 2 years, they will need to run for a 4-year term, because you're just filling in from the last time they were elected in.
Sure.
The only other thing,
So I'm sorry, at the next election, everybody gets voted on with the exception of the mayor?
Correct.
correct,
I'm
but
not doing
then
my 4-year term. But in 2 years, then
In 2 years,
I will run.
those
Three.
the 3 that have 2-year unexpired terms this year will have to run for a 4-year term when he runs.
In 2025.
So we have 6 people.
Right now.
Right. So
We
3,
have 6 people running.
We have 6 available positions.
we have 6 right now, but
As long as
see,
you get 1 vote.
3 of
You win.
them,
Well,
right?
As long as you don't get
3
0.
of them are for 4-year terms. So they won't run in 2 years.
Sure.
So then what it is every 2 years, or
That way
every,
it offsets.
yeah, every 2 years somebody's running for 4
Right.
years.
Only a couple of us.
Obviously, and people did say they couldn't find the caucus information on our website. I don't look at it myself. The people I polled have no idea what a caucus is, so I'd like to educate the community a little more on that, because out of everybody in this town, which I think on average, there's about 40 to 45 people that vote in the consolidated elections in this entire town. And I really would like to see that increase, because we really would like people's opinions.
Sure.
But I would also like to get it on the calendar that apparently in even number years, you are just supposed to spontaneously know this information, because it is nowhere. Nobody sends it to you. You're not reminded of it. You just have to know.
So what we do is we've got a master calendar that
Yes.
Tracy keeps. So if you just give her the dates, she'll go out and put it on there and make sure
Yes,
it's on.
and they said whoever is like the clerk usually is the election judge,
Good work.
but you always need to have, each party needs to have a chair. Like I can say, hey, can you do this? We got to figure out a way to have these people be chairs, because I'm like, hey, do you want to do this? So
Who did this one?
Myrna came because she's the one that ran it 2 years ago, and I asked Fred to run the other one because he did it 2 years ago.
Because you normally have someone who chairs, you have a secretary, and you have 2 judges.
Right.
So you normally have 4 people.
Which we almost didn't have.
Yeah, as you saw, we
We
only
had
did.
3.
You only had 3 people.
We only had 3 people.
So they only had 1 judge.
So,
So the caucuses went well.
Yes.
well, everybody got what they needed to get done.
That's the key thing.
It's all, and then now I just have to do my part.
Whoever was supposed to dominate Ryan showed up a few minutes late.
Yeah,
With the
Phil McElroy. Yeah, Phil
Ryan
showed-
called me and he goes, hey, I think I have a problem. I go, what? He goes, the guy that's supposed to nominate me, I just drove by his house and he's sitting at his kitchen table.
Rod did it.
So I appreciate everybody.
Well, caucus is basically just a way to get away from having to get the signatures
Yes.
and to stay nonpartisan.
Right.
Correct.
That's all it does. It's
Correct.
And I don't know what the exact percentage is, but my guess would be in Hannah City, you probably would have to get 10 signatures.
Depending on the population.
And
The
if
whole Limestone Township
if-
was only like 75, so this has to be.
if you want to go to the signature instead of the caucus, we have to pay to get it on the ballot, and it needs to be a referendum to change the rules.
But I was also told that we would have to go partisan at that point.
Correct.
So,
Not necessarily. In Germantown, everybody runs independent.
and you can vote as the board to change it and to put it on the referendum. And you would have to do that.
We would just have to pay for the referendum.
Correct.
You don't have to pay to be actually, because we're still.
I have
voting
no
on it.
idea
Anything with
what
the-
that cost is. So.
All I know is it ain't broke. Let's not try to fix it.
Yeah. And that's why I really would like.
It's almost broke. I mean,
But it costs money to fix it.
Honestly,
Right.
if Brian hadn't gotten you two and hunted you down, we still would not have a board. And so this whole process, we still wouldn't have had anybody on the election.
yeah.
So I mean, you
So-
think because of I don't know how many people I asked. 5 or 6 people that I asked to be on the board. And everybody's like, nah, I'm too busy. I don't have time for that.
And
Sure.
I mean, we're good for 4 years, but
Everybody's that way. You just kind of do it.
Yeah.
But-
I
I mean, yeah, we didn't got stuff going on.
25 years.
promise it's cost me a ton of money in beer to keep these 2 guys.
so yes, I appreciate everybody that
Yeah,
is here and willing to sacrifice their time because it is a sacrifice. And do what you guys do.
We get paid
Coffee.
We do.
which I did not know.
Yes.
I had no clue. When somebody told me I'm getting paid, I'm like, what?
And I think honestly, the pay is more than fair.
And
I just did 3.5 years on an unpaid board.
Right.
I mean,
I honestly feel like if people realize how much work it went in, if you look at how much time you spend and the amount you get paid, it's not, you're getting paid.
Well, you're responsible for quite a bit of stuff.
So,
but it's second
well, no,
shift,
but he
so-
comes up and he has to do.
Right.
The hard part
meetings.
is we're the ones pretty much that would have to advertise to the public about the board and that we need the
Right.
board, but then we're going to get ran against.
Right.
So that it gives us, there's no reason for us to necessarily do it unless you.
There's people not banging down the doors.
Exactly. But it only takes one person this term, and then one of us could, I mean, that's what I was saying. I'm new to town. Most people don't know my last name. It'd take one person with one of your guys' last names and
Well, they're nominated now.
No,
So.
right.
Yeah.
yeah. Now they can't even do a write-in, can they?
No, because we have all the positions
It's like everybody
Bill.
So,
on the ballot.
so as long as you get, at this point, as long as you get one vote, you're good.
As long as everybody gets their
Everybody
paperwork to
vote
me.
for everybody else.
next you need at least one vote.
That's right. You know, you
But
either.
what else is going on at that time period? In April, I wonder.
Man, I haven't voted.
Because if it lines up with something fairly important, you usually have a better turnout and they go ahead and vote.
It'll be the presidential election.
No, it's 23.
No,
And
that's
it's
another-
April.
It is probably going to be nothing. And that's why they have 40
Vote.
people that vote.
That's why they have low turnout.
I thought that's what you said. There was only 45 people voted.
Yes, in the last election, consolidated
One other
election,
thing before we
45
go,
people.
I was there. I was the election judge.
Yes, you
the
were.
guys helped the village of Glassford with the bucket truck to put up some of their Christmas lights, and I got a email from the mayor over in Glassford. He says, "Thank you for having the guys help with the Christmas lights this year. It was really appreciated, and if we can help your guys out in the future, please let us know." I said, "Have a great day." I also sent him back a thank you for thanking us. Just the fact he didn't have to do that. So
We've got a lot of like that. We do some work with Farmington back and forth. We do some work with
Pleasant Valley.
Pleasant Valley helps on the water side and back and forth. So
our next board meeting is December 20th, 6 p.m. Does anybody else have anything else to bring before the board?
don't forget holiday party week from tonight, 6 o'clock Guilds.
Meeting adjourned. And Cassandra wants these back.